Hi, I'm Nelson Day. I am an AMJ Certified Rock Guide as well as a single pitch instructor program provider, meaning I offer exams and guide courses in Joshua Tree National Park. I also operate the climbing life guides for all of your guiding needs. Today what I'm going to be covering is how to utilize natural protection for anchoring purposes. One example of natural protection would be this very large rock in front of me. And the first thing I would like to do if I'm considering using this rock to anchor off of is decide if this is a big enough rock or even a suitable rock for my wrapping needs. Part of what I want to do here is just make sure this rock is stable. If I'm hoping to wrap this rock and anchor away from myself as I'm standing here, I need to make sure this rock's not going to tip forwards. So a lot of times what I'll do is get on top of the rock, make sure that we're not wobbling, and then if I'm worried about the rock tipping forward, I need to give it a good shove from the back, make sure the rock doesn't tip and move. And it seems very stable. As far as the size of this rock, usually I'm looking for anything about refrigerator size and bigger. Anything smaller than a refrigerator just doesn't make me too inspired from a confidence level. So I think this rock is plenty big just on the mass size. And I now need to examine this rock and decide how I'd like to wrap it. I think sometimes you can wrap around the base of a rock. I prefer not to if I can help it, because the rope can become very much wedged underneath what the rock is sitting on and the rock. So the pinch point formed between the rock and this hard surface is what you'd be wrapping. And I prefer not to wrap that pinch point if I can help it. It's just not as fun trying to fish the rope around the bottom of this rock. And also at the end of the day, if I load up my anchor pretty solidly, then my rope may become wedged very tightly underneath this rock. So I'm going to try to find some way to wrap around the whole rock when I can. If the rock was gigantic, then I would start looking for what is the rock sitting on. Maybe pinch points underneath the rock, something else to wrap besides the rock itself. Wrapping a gigantic rock turns into a bit of a project and takes a lot of anchor rope material. This rock is just about the right size where I like to try to wrap the whole rock. So I'm going to go ahead and look at some perimeter features of this rock. I see kind of an edge right here that might be usable, kind of as a horn. And I can see some profile around the top of the rock that looks maybe positive for a horn. And I can also see on the left side a bit of a horn. So I guess now I have to decide where am I going to be pulling the rope towards to decide which part of this rock I want to wrap. I'm going to say I'm pulling the rope directly away from me here, meaning I would kind of want to pull, if I want to utilize this rock as a horn, then I want to be pulling my rope onto the rock versus off of the rock. So if I'm trying to load my rock in the direction away from me, I'm probably going to use the right portion of this rock as a horn, and that way when I'm pulling on my rope, I'm pulling the rope onto the rock versus off the rock. Now I can see a pretty good gap underneath this rock. There's a pinch right here I might be able to utilize, but just given the small size of what this pinch point is formed by, it's not real inspiring to me. So I think I prefer to use a bigger portion of the rock as a horn than that pinch point. But I'm gonna go ahead and get my anchor rope out, and I'm gonna throw the anchor rope around this rock. Kind of like so. Once I have my rope around this rock, I need to check for stability. This rock has enough security. This rock has enough security that I can't even really move the rope much. But if I start to pull my rope back and forth in a sawing motion and the rope starts to work its way off of the rock, that means I need to find a more secure option. In that scenario, where the rope starts to fall off of my rock, I'm probably going to wrap around the base instead of this big horn that I've chosen here. Once I've found a very secure option for myself, I'm going to use our friend, the bowline. We went over earlier in a different lesson how to tie a bowline knot. The bowline is a very good application knot for this particular situation because I can tie a bowline anywhere in this rope that I want. So let's get a little bit extra rope here. Now we're going to finish our wrap with a bowline knot. So here we are making our slip knot. I kind of prefer the slip knot method myself. Pull the load strand through for the slip knot. I'm going to tail my rope through that slip knot, and then pull the slip knot out into a bowline knot. And now we have a very secure wrapped rock. Last step we're going to do, finish this bowline off. This is how to wrap a rock as a horn, or just how to wrap a rock securely for your anchoring purposes.